Good afternoon, participants. Welcome to the day one, session two by Dr. Udaya Shankar Puranik. I welcome you, sir. Giving a brief introduction to Dr. Udaya Shankar Puranik. He had his graduation in engineering from Bangalore, higher education at University of London, University of Singapore, and University of Wisconsin in USA. His 34 years of experience include senior executive positions like vice president, director in major multinational technology companies of the world. His clients include top 5 global banks, insurance, retail, and healthcare providers, and Fortune 100 companies of the world. He has an internationally certified ITIL Six Sigma cybersecurity blockchain project management professional and an advisor in information technology to multinational companies, governments, universities, and institutions across the world. He's also a mentor of change at ATAL Innovation Mission at a premier school in Mysore. At present, he's a practice lead for data science and blockchain at a premier MNC consulting company based out of USA. His professional activities include a lot of memberships across various organizations, including IT panel of CII Karnataka for 2 consecutive terms, and contributed to the ITES member of the IT panel of CII Karnataka for 2 consecutive terms. Executive member of Kannada Ganaka Parishat, Bangalore, which is an organization focused on promoting use of Kannada language in information technology since 1998. He has in past 26 years developed Indian language software for use in Doordarshan, ATM, industries, web portals, banks, mobile phones, e-publishing, IVR, and call centers of telecom companies. He has authored more than 2,600 articles on IT and new technologies which are published in leading newspapers and publications. He is the chief editor of editorial committee of IT Encyclopedia project of University of Mysore. He has several awards and recognitions. He has been facilitated by Karnataka State Government Award from KSTA for year 2018 as one of the best authors in science and technology in Kannada language for the book on artificial intelligence and opportunities it offers. Incidentally, this book is first of its kind in Kannada language. He has obtained prestigious Eminence and Excellent Award for exemplary contribution in information technology from IBM. He has several awards and felicitations for innovation and contribution in the field of information technology from several multinational companies, professional organizations, and institutions. With this introduction, I heartily welcome Dr. Udaya Shankar Puranik. I thank you very much for accepting our invitation, sir. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Back, there was all this talk going on that the software industry in India is growing and we don't have people. Yes, it was true to a point because the college where I studied, in fact, it's one of the premier colleges in India, did not have a computer. Even when I graduated, I had never seen a computer. But the first job I got in a software industry was to work on a mainframe. And imagine the situation there. You've not seen a computer, but you're supposed to work on a mainframe. So this always keeps on happening whenever a new technology comes in, and we always get into this situation where we say people are not available and people are not being trained by the industry and so on and so forth. So my talk would not be to get into that situation, that arguments again. It's primarily, as I said, to see how the industry and institution can work together in this particular field. Okay. So with that few words, I would like to thank the organizers for this very good program. I went through the session details, what they have shared, and it's a really great work by the organizers to get so many resource people involved in this particular program And they've also included hands-on training. That's really good. And thanks again for Dr. Bhargavi and our team for giving me this opportunity to talk to you today. So with that, I'll like to share the presentation. In this particular presentation, the agenda is very simple. We'll talk about what are the different opportunities and what are the capacity building we can do together, what is the road ahead, and what is the kind of, what the discussion we can have at the end of the presentation. So when I talk of opportunities, we keep hearing this kind of, statements and reports, like the one recent one from Markets and Markets spoke about how the global market for blockchain is going to increase to $39 billion. And that's really good. There's a lot of global market opportunity being created, and particularly with post-COVID, when we talk about the new normal, this market may also be much more than what has been forecasted. And we also keep hearing in the media about many we'll be hearing in the media about many people talking about employment opportunities. Okay, it's one of the hot skill in the market, and people have to kind of start applying for it. And there's a lot of opportunities in India and abroad. I don't want to get into the numbers game there, because the numbers vary from a couple of thousands to a couple of millions. So it is for the people who have been forecasting that, they know it better what they're talking about. And blockchain, if you look at it, it's come a long way from what started about 11 years back with Bitcoin. There is adoption being done in many parts of the industry. Some are in proof of ownership, some are in proof of concept, and people are working towards, achieving the end objective of getting the results out of blockchain. When all this is happening, we also see in the slide, there has also been the blockchain with AI and blockchain with IoT, and this kind of applications happening there. So what does that mean for us in India? Okay, so we look at opportunities here. The first thing is blockchain tourism is over. So what I mean by blockchain tourism is, there was a time not so far away, if we can even say one or more, a little more than 1 year, when companies were all too interested in blockchain. They would fiddle around with a couple of proof of concepts and then decide what we are doing is perfectly okay for us. We don't want to go into blockchain. It's like, you visit a place, you stay there for a couple of days, you enjoy the facilities there, and you come back saying, our country, our home is great, and let's go back to work. So this kind of tourism is stopped in blockchain. If people really want it, they're coming in, and if people don't want it, still they're interested because they don't have much of options left. So what is the result of this blockchain tourism getting over is, people who used to ask, will the technology work, are today saying, how can we make the technology work for us? That's a paradigm shift that's happening there. But blockchain implementation, or the early adopters of blockchain, we hear a few success stories, and most of them have failed. Now, we call that as blockchain trilemma. It's not a dilemma, it's a trilemma. Because you have scalability, you have security, and you have decentralization. Now you try to vary the three, it never becomes a triangle. Only two can be varied, while one is supposed to be a constant. Now that's a trilemma there, and the different options available, we are still looking at how can we just do this, okay? Now, next normal, I mentioned about how we can look at post-pandemic era. Yes, we're saying, we're still in the second wave or the third wave of pandemic, and we still don't have a vaccine. but the life has to go on, and people are coming back. And with that, let's look at what are the changes happening in the next normal or the post-pandemic era. So today, the challenge for us from the industry and for everybody is, I think I shared the presentation. Not able to see that?
We can see the presentation.
Sorry?
We can see the presentation.
But people are still asking on the chat, they're not seeing the presentation.
No, they're asking to share it later after the talk.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So the situation today is we are having both a crisis on demand and supply side of it. So it's like a lot of disruptions are happening. If we talk supply chain, the global supply chain itself is going through a lot of massive changes. Look at education. We never thought we would have students working from home, teachers working from home, and still trying to have online classes. Or even industry, if you look at it, most of us continue to work from home, and probably will continue to work from home for next 1 year, even if a vaccine comes in, because that's changes or shifts happening across practically everywhere. And with all these disruptions, we are going through a time of massive upheaval, and we have to come out of it. That's an opportunity in itself. So, what are the key industries where blockchain is being implemented in a big way? You have it's not an order of investment being done. So it's primarily to give you an overview of which all sectors are going very bullish in this particular implementation or adoption part of it. So you have, almost like who is who of the industry getting into this. And this again means there's a lot of opportunities for people who are aspirant to join this industry, either as working professionals or even as consultants, or even if you're planning to start your own startup, and I think that this was the right time to start it. Capacity building, I mentioned. Now, these are some areas what we notice students coming out of the college are blank. I would like to use the word blank because answers are not very clear and they're not confident, and they try to still answer some of the interview questions. And if they get into the workplace, it becomes all the more difficult because they'll be facing the customer, and they need to have good understanding of all these issues. One of the things I think the previous speaker would have spoken about permission blockchain, which was public blockchain, why we should go in for permission blockchain. So there's in between also what we call as a private blockchain, and which one to choose. If you're given a project, which one do you choose, and what is the plus point or negative of each of this? Public, private, and permission. That's one of the things the students need to know, or I would rather say we need to educate them about that. That's one of the things. And project, if it has to be successful, then good governance is very critical. Now, I'll get into details on the good governance part of it in the coming slides. Stakeholder management is always a challenge because you have to work together, or in fact, you have to bring together competitors and unlikely collaborators, people who don't want to collaborate, people who are real-time competitors in the market. Still, you have to build an ecosystem, get everybody involved, and make the project work. It's like it's a total community effort there. So that's something we probably need to educate the aspirant engineers for this industry. And whether the solution is successful or not depends on the value of the network itself. If the user does not find value in using this particular solution, though it may be a very good solution, it is useless. So this ecosystem, when I talk about a good governance, stakeholder management, that becomes all the critical in making a project successful and making it useful for the end users. So what is the solution for that? There are different attempts being made. We talk about creating a consortium approach for blockchain. Now, what is this consortium? Okay, let me walk you through a couple of consortiums there. What are the challenges when you try to put people together and call it a consortium? One is you have to work with competitors. Then you have to agree who will be the participants in the consortium. And you have to have a consensus on what are the shared goals. Then you have to look at funding for this project. Then all of the stakeholders should be willing to share both risk and success. We can't, having people tom about success and blame others for risks or even failures. So these are some of the challenges when you say you want to make a consortium, okay? But still there are some models being worked out. One is a very traditional working group. Here, everybody has equal power and contribution. It's like a democratic setup, okay? Everybody can put forward their views and vote for a particular action or not. And decisions are made by conscience. It goes with majority votes. If not, unanimous decision, it will go with majority votes. And the members contribute only for the shared goals. Only for the shared goals, so you can expect all the funding for the project to come in from different members. Otherwise, they're happy contributing to what they own and what they operate. Each participant owns and operates its own node. So they're more interested in funding for that than in putting it into the consortium goals. So what is the second one? We talk about a private sector entity. Now here a couple of industries come together and form an autonomous legal entity. The first one, working group, is not a legal entity. So here we try to create a legal entity. And funding for this particular consortium would be from founding members and also the core members in steering committee. So who are these core members? The steering committee may change from project to project. So for every project, the steering committee will be different and the core members will also change. But because they are going to use this, private sector entity, they're going to fund for this particular consortium as well. So this is used as a service. This is offered as a service for individual participants who want to operate their own node. So that means they obviously have to pay for making use of this particular service. Third one, which is being being brought together, is what we call as a hybrid model. Because in blockchain projects, very big expenditure is on the infrastructure. So if you can get a shared infrastructure provider to be the key person driving this model, then he will decide with others what are the organization directives, and members will follow that. It's not really a democratic setup. You're just following what the organization guidelines are, and you pay for common objectives. So we can look at different models like this. In fact, what I would strongly recommend with my experiences, you try to create your own model so that you can try to meet some of the consortium success factors. So what are the success factors? You have to be very clear on goals of collaboration. What are the goals we want to achieve with this consortium? And how do you measure success? Second is responsibility of stakeholders. What are the key responsibilities and to which stakeholder it has been assigned and agreed upon? And the individual entity, it may be a person or an organization. If they are in the part of this consortium, then what are their responsibilities? So financial contribution, again, it can be individual entity contribution, that's a stakeholder making a contribution financially, or can you have a dual model, partly finance and partly people? So what is this partly finance and partly people? If other stakeholder is making a contribution of, let us say, $10 million. Now I don't have $10 million with me, but I still want to contribute to this particular consortium. So I may say I'll give $5 million in finance, and $5 million will be the resource in terms of team and their work that will be calculated and contributed to this particular consortium. It can be a finance and people model, but you will have to work it on case-to-case basis. There can't be a standard rule for everybody because big companies will always get the advantage here, and small players will always be facing difficulties. So you have to work it case-to-case basis and try to get everybody involved. Now, while we're doing a project, we will have this intellectual property rights. So will it be for everybody involved, or will it be only for the technical teams? That has to be decided. So legal entities, so who are all responsible in case there is a legal issue, and what are the strategic objectives of this particular legal entity? And in first case, whether it has to be a legal entity. So these are things to be decided. And the confidential agreements can vary from project to project, but one typical agreement would be non-disclosure agreement. And technology, again, you have to decide what blockchain technology and platform you're going to use. And if there's going to be any changes in the project or the scope of the project or even technology, then you have to have a very robust change management process in place. And quality assurance, you have to be very clear from the day one what kind of quality assurance you're going to adopt and how you're going to measure that against any international standard. And project methodology, depending on project to project, you may want to decide what the methodology would be. Often we use Scrum or Agile. Apart from this, there'll be a statutory and regulatory compliance with local governments and governing bodies, which may change, but still you have to follow that. So there has to be compliance all the while. Otherwise, there can be, penalties or, litigations from the local bodies or the government, which can hamper your project. So these are some of the challenges you had to overcome to say this consortium is a success. Now, this one part of it, when you say industry-wide, how do you call this consortium a success? That's one more thing. So it must gain industry acceptance. More people from industry should come forward to participate in this consortium. That's very important. While we have more people, then people will try to dominate because they're a very big company or a multinational company or whatever reason. So you have to avoid that kind of a dominance from any vendor over other participants. That's very important. And people management is all the while critical, as I said earlier. So collaboration is a must. We always say you have to collaborate, but we all know how difficult it is to make it really happen in real time. But still you have to do that. That's managing people, managing egos, managing conflict. Practically everything has to be done. And that's where you may be noticing the project management role in Bitcoin projects is very different from what it happens in any other software project. So he or she has to be, prepared to how to handle this kind of situations as well. Then the stakeholders would have committed, okay, we'll provide people. They would have said we'll provide people for a certain period of time or the complete duration of the project. That's a commitment, but whether they're really honoring that commitment is important. And for all this, often projects get stuck or fail because their focus is on building a technical platform. But I would strongly recommend build a community platform along with the technical platform. The community is where, you can get people together and try to work as one team, but the technical team continues to work on the technical platform. And decision-making process, that's very important. We cannot have a everybody deciding as a democratic process. So one thing that often works is people who have made investment, there will be the decision makers, not everybody in the consortium. And the subcommittees must be reflecting the interest than the individual. So that's very important there. And strong business case for everybody to get involved. And typically what we have to ensure is everybody involved has a takeaway from the project. That's very important. So when you select projects as a part of academics or even doing something at smaller companies and trying to get into bigger companies which are into blockchain, how the projects are evaluated, of course, technology is a decider. But other than that, in this kind of massive projects, what is important is, does it meet a social need? Is there a social need which is being addressed? And if this project were to be scaled up or if it's were to be made into a product or an offering, whether there will be a social acceptance for that. And scalability of the project is very important because we understand the limitation of doing a project in an academic institution. And when you try to scale it up to a next level, things may not always be that easy. And you have to keep that scalability factor in mind as well. And security, I'm limiting not just to the data security or information security here. And since we're talking about blockchain along with IoT, and we're also talking about blockchain along with AI. So we may also have to look at cyber physical security depending on the project being done. And services is important because you delivered a project, then what kind of services you're providing, level 1, level 2, level 3, and what are the terms of service, what are the service level agreements, if there is a customer who is going to use this particular project. These are some of the understandings which we expect in a project being done by the student at academic level, and also maybe at early months or year of his working in a particular company or working on his own as well. You can always work on a GitHub kind of a project as well. But as long as it covers these kind of prime requirements, I think that project will still be being considered as a good project, and he or she will get a good employment. That's always possible. Now, there are different models which help people to decide whether they really require blockchain at all. So one of the things is this one of the oldest model way back in 2016. And this used to, in a very simple way, help people decide whether you really require a blockchain. And you have multiple models in the industry today. If anybody is interested, I can share the links after the presentation. You can go through that. This is one of the models which was used by IBM. And this also again helps, when I say let us talk, it means that you want to talk to the IBM experts and take their help in, taking forward the blockchain implementation of the project itself. Okay, so different vendors may have, different kind of models, and what we expect is not being wedded to a particular model, but at least having the overview of what different models are available in the industry. That's important. So that will help the person get into, work very quickly and start working with the project team as well, because they understand what model was used to convince the customer that he or she has to go into using a blockchain. Once you understand that, then you understand where the project started coming in from and what kind of discussions happened and what is our project contract all about. So this is basically, trying to help the students or aspirants know this particular type of models in advance. That's very important. Am I too fast, or you're okay with what we're talking? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Murugan. So the project challenges, even at industry level, we have a lot of challenges. One of the challenges is most of the blockchain projects work in silos. Now, creating an architectural bridge to make sure two blockchain solutions talk to each other is itself a challenge. So interoperability of blockchain projects is very much important. Today, we don't have a standard solution. Of course, people have come up with different architecture solutions, but we don't have really a global standard for that as of now. So that's one of the risks which we always work with any project, and we have to factor for this kind of risk also. Resource utilization depends on the type of approach we're taking. If you're taking proof of work, resource utilization is, particularly energy utilization is more, and proof of stake, then energy utilization is comparatively less. So you have to evaluate that, and here you also have to consider the capacity of infrastructure, whether that will be sufficient enough or we need to scale up for whatever kind of transactions we are looking forward. Of course, at a Bitcoin or Ethereum level, it might be looking very fast and quick. But when you actually look at industry projects, that doesn't always work. The speed is always being kind of compromised. So we will have to be a little conscious about that. And as I said, we don't have global standards right now. There's been some attempt being made to put in some global standard. So that's one of the challenges. And the third, the next one is data security. Depending on if it's just a blockchain project, still data and information security is very important. And if you're going to, include it with AI and IoT, as I said earlier, then probably let us stretch this scope of data security into cyber physical systems as well. And as I said earlier, the regulatory and statutory standards, they vary from region to region. So compliance with that, understanding what the standards are and what is the impact of any change in standards is also important. And one of the things which we really need to build capacity on is domain knowledge. Often people come up saying, okay, can we do a blockchain project on healthcare, for example? Okay. Now, you can do it perfectly okay, but how do you do it very effectively at a scaled down model? I'm talking about a scaled down model. Okay, given the, I don't know how much time the students are given to complete a project in an academic institution right now, but assuming it's about 3 months or so, what realistically a student group can work on a project, and let us say let's for healthcare. So let's take a real life situation. If I were a patient and I've been having regular medical checkups and meeting different doctors for different kind of treatment, could be common treatment, could be something like corona, which really happened out of the blue, or it'll be okay. So what happens in that case, I carry a lot of medical records with me, physical records with me. Okay. Now people say, can we just digitize all this and try to create a blockchain there, and one place we can show all these records? Is that a solution? Now I'd like to differ there. Are we trying to bring all these records together, or we are trying to create a health trail? Because if my health trail is available with supporting documents, that's important for a medical practitioner than how many prescriptions I took, how many tablets I took, then which doctor I met and where I went and what happened. All that is there when you actually build a very good health trail. Now, if you look at all the negative things being said about our government hospitals, still there are very good doctors there, and most of the people today still go to government hospitals. That can be a very good data source for making this kind of small projects on healthcare, even at a scaled down model. And if you are able to build and demonstrate, the health trail very effectively, I think that can be a very interesting project for any industry which is coming for campus placement, or taking it as off-campus placement also, because we don't find this kind of projects being done often at an institution level. I'm not talking about the prime institutions. Obviously, they do it at a different level. But if you look at institutions across the country in general, I think this is what is required. And that's where the domain knowledge also plays a very important role. So talk to the doctors, try to take them their time. I know they're very busy, particularly with this COVID-19. But still, you have to get some involvement from them, because finally they'll be the people who will be actually using this kind of scaled down projects. And if they feel it's useful, then it's good enough. That means we're doing the right kind of work, or we're on right track. And that's how we can, kind of take it forward. That's a suggestion from me. I mean, of course, you don't want to do healthcare, you want to do something else, fintech or industry or anything. You can have your own approach for that. But end of it, what matters as a deciding factor is whether the student group completed the project. Often we find it's started, it's midway, or whatever reason, but it's not really complete from what we expect from the industry perspective, and that may work a little negative in spite of all their good efforts. So as I said again, this is an area of collaboration where we are working together as an industry and institution. So let us try to see how we can help the students at this level also, wherever applicable. Governance, as I said, is very important. So from a student perspective, what is that we expect is they have to understand what is process compliance, what is quality compliance. When I say quality compliance, it is primarily being audit ready. So what are different type of audits and how we have to be ready to that. Then what are the best practices available in the industry, and knowledge repository, version control of documents, even using the standard terms for naming the document itself, whatever they're done in a project. If they use standard terms, that will be more than helpful. And methodology, if you are using Scrum, then you have to understand what is the Scrum methodology very well. If you're using some other methodology, even the same thing applies there. Because often, we get an answer that, look, I was working only on the design and other team was doing something else. So together we did the project. No, it can't be in silos. You have to work as a team, and you have to answer on part of the team. That's very important. Capacity planning, I mentioned, one is computational power and also the storage requirements. Both are important. It gets you started with a particular assumption, and later on you find the project requiring more computing power and storage. Then how did you scale up? How quickly you were able to do that? That's important than anything else, because this can happen in any real-time project also. So are you on control of things? Are you on top of a situation? If there's a crisis, can you get help and solve it? These things become a deciding factor. And often projects, even at a scaled down model or at big deployments, are having severe budget and time constraints. And don't just go with the first slide I showed where we talk about $1 billion or $1 trillion marketplace. When you look at an individual project, this constraint will always be there, budget and time constraint. And I'm not talking about companies which are literally sweatshops, which take job work from customer and then make the workers slog 14 hours, 16 hours a day and try to complete the project. No, that's no way of growing in this industry at all. And I'm talking about companies which are really doing good work, even with the severe budget and time constraints. So we got to learn from them, and we got to tell our students, okay, these are some of the ways they were able to do this particular thing. So you can share as many case studies as you can with the students, and they learn how the situation was handled at different levels. That's again my suggestion. Now, I'm taking a project here because we spoke about possibility of using blockchain along with IoT and also artificial intelligence. And what is this elephant doing in our room? Let me explain this particular project in brief. This is an African forest elephant, and it's hunted mercilessly down for different reasons. I'll give in the next slide. But it's on the verge of being an endangered species because of a decline in its population and the high vegetation period it takes to give birth to a new offspring. Now, the challenge with this particular elephant is you can't track it using a system like a drone or warhead, any other tracking method, because this is not too tall when compared to regular African elephants. And when it walks in between the elephant grass or foliage, you can't even notice that elephant is moving there. It's very difficult to track it. And there have been, in fact, very few people who have seen this elephant face to face. So this is a project done for that. I'm just giving the overview to say that, how we are kind of, trying to handle this particular project. So some pointers to this particular project. So more than 60% have been killed since 2002. Probably the number is more now because with all the lockdowns in place and people not being freely moving around, particularly employees or the forest rangers, illegal killing could have increased again. And this stays in the Western Central Africa. In fact, it was staying in multiple countries earlier. And the people kill it for tusks. If you notice the particular elephant, it has straight tusk compared to other elephants. So people who make business out of illegal ivory trade always kill this. They always like to get this elephant because they get a straight tusk, and that I'm told has a more premium value in this illegal ivory market. So that's one of the reasons it's being killed. And the second thing is bushmeat. There are people who consume this particular meat of this particular elephant and relish it. So it's also being killed for that, and game hunting. And for some time, it was also being killed for witchcraft, black magic, and that kind of stuff. Okay? Now, the rainforest growth depends on this particular elephant because that's how it's been growing for centuries together. And as I said, the reproduction rate is very low because it's once in 5 to 6 years. And if the herd loses the male elephant, even though we have a female elephant capable of bearing offspring, we may not really get it till the new male joins the herd. So these are some of the practical issues on the ground. Okay, I'm just trying to summarize the situation on ground. Now with this, what do we do? Now this being done by a team of engineers from Cornell University, and around 50 sensors have been monitoring this huge area of 1,243 square kilometer of forest. Now, about 2 million calls and sounds from this area have been recorded for a period of 3 to 4 months. And in this 2 million calls, they were able to identify around 15,000 or so kind of elephant calls made by the elephant. Now, what are the calls made by the elephant? They converse among themselves. They're happy, they converse in a different manner, they're alarmed, they converse in a different manner. They're just happy, they want to sing a song, their own song, they do enjoy in a different way. So you have a very distinct 15,000 and odd type of calls, which deep learning methodology was used to identify this particular calls. Then real-time identification. Now, how do we know this elephant is in which part of the forest? Because it's very difficult to see it by cameras and drones. So that's different prototypes were developed for that, and conservation metrics are also developed. So how do we make sure that poachers, even if they were to enter the reserve forest or the protected area, how quickly can come to know about that, and how can we track them, and how can we inform the forest protection agencies. Now, tracking, just to give a complexity of the project, was brought down to the identification of the tire marks of the vehicle. The tire marks of the vehicles which a poacher uses, how different it is from a tire mark of a vehicle which are made to order and used by forest department. And this kind of data was collected, and finally we were able to kind of demonstrate this elephants, even though they are not physically visible, but even if they are in the middle of a forest or they're getting into water, how quickly you can identify which elephant is which one. That's again using this kind of artificial intelligence and deep learning and different methodologies. And IoT was primarily used for the sensors. So when you have this kind of documentation, and you had to build a blockchain system for this, because why it is important is the illegal ivory trade I mentioned is also involving a lot of people who cheat, trying to sell off tusk from a different country as that belongs to an African elephant or an Indian elephant. Now, that they have been doing it with no authentication in between. Whatever they say is final, and they used to always get away with it. And even if these consignments were eventually tracked and seized, there was no way you could find out whether this tusk belonged to a particular country or a particular forest or a particular species of elephant. It used to take a lot of effort and time to get back to the ground, and that's where blockchain system has also been built, not just for illegal ivory tracking, but also to ensure that general health condition of the elephant is there, and their food and water requirements are being met. And in the name of development, we don't have a big road coming in middle of a elephant corridor, or elephants being pushed away because somebody thought we can illegally do some cultivation. So a lot of things are being inbuilt into this blockchain part of it as well. So these are some of the things what we use for this. Different universities have worked in this, and different wildlife conservation agencies are also involved. And if you relate this back to what I said earlier, stakeholder management, getting people to work together as a consortium, getting fund for that, getting people for that, and making all this happen. And by the way, remember, this is not a commercial project. So this is like doing it for the community, or what we all like as wildlife. And you can't really expect profits or anything from that. So getting people to fund this project, implementing it in constraint of budget and time, everything what I discussed so far was all being done in this particular project as well. And this is an ongoing project. PAWS is the Protection Assistant for Wildlife Security. That's a kind of alert system which alerts all the forest guards and rangers whenever there's a potential threat of poachers getting into a particular area, or even illegal people illegally entering into forest area for game hunting or any other reason. So this is how it was being done, and Spot was used in open areas where there's not so much of foliage, and elephants or animals and people could be identified. Now, I'd just like to take 1 minute and go back to the earlier one slide. I mentioned about 2 million calls, and last 5 we got only 15,000 elephant calls. Now, 2 million calls, because the forest is not a silent place. I think for some of you who are very actively involved in tracking in forest areas or wildlife conservation will agree with me that it's not a silent place. And it's not something, an isolated place where we can only get a recording of an elephant. So there'll be background noise, there'll be other animals, there'll be so many things happening around. So you got to identify in the 2 million calls which really belongs to this particular species of elephant. Then you have to test it, and you have to make sure that you are correct. And if you see, I put 22 days. That's a time constraint we had for identifying 15,000 unique elephant calls. You can understand the kind of work being done in the background by the team to make things happen in the short duration. So this is some of the things. And the road ahead, what I would recommend for institutions, try to move away from being a center of education into a center of excellence. I think our new education policy also mentions that. And if you have a lot of students who are interested in starting as startups in a blockchain, do encourage them, try to have an incubator facility for them. And industry institution collaboration, it's always possible at an institution level also. In fact, wherever I can, I've been helping different institutions build capacity in this particular, not just the blockchain, even in artificial intelligence and also in cyber security. So this is what I would like to leave at this point of time, and now open to your questions and comments. Thanks again.
Thank you, sir. Sarah initially mentioned to me that we'll have a more of an interactive session. So he will wind up the PPT earlier so that the other participants, if you have any queries, doubts, or clarifications, or you need to extract knowledge, more knowledge on industry perspective of blockchain projects, you can all discuss with him. So in that perspective, what I'll do is I will give an option for all the participants. You can unmute yourself and you can interact with Sir.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Yes, please. I didn't get your name.
My name is Subramanya. Yeah, my name is Subramanya.
Okay.
My doubt is like in case of permissioned blockchain, there will be a few lead nodes or whatever it is, they will give permission to us. We request them. Okay. Is it not actually defeating the very core definition of blockchain? Okay. It is based on the trustless. Okay. Depend on someone's authority to approve us.
No, again, it depends on, you asked a good question, thank you. The question is like, should all blockchain projects get into permissioned mode? The answer is no. If you're having a blockchain project, for example, which let us say sensitive information, I'll take a healthcare, for example, or even fintech, then you would probably like to have a very structured and legal entity handling that issues. And that gives more confidence to your customer also. So if it is something where you want to control people who want to come and see what is happening, and participate in the project, then I would recommend you look at the option of permissioned blockchains. If it's a public blockchain where people who really come in are the people who are really interested in participating, and more participation is going to make the project more successful. If that is the mode that's going forward, then you can look at public blockchain.
Okay.
So because there are standards,
thank you.
there are a lot of regulatory and statutory requirements. For example, if you're doing a project where you're using personal data, I thought we'll have a protection law for personal data in India, but for some reason it's just getting being reviewed at a parliamentary committee for that, and probably in the next session we may have something in India as well. But if you look at the history part of it, Britain started it way back, and then GDPR has been implemented in a very big way in Europe. And likewise in US also, at the state levels also, there have been very stringent laws being implemented. So today we are at a situation where even if we are not aware, some of our data could already be in somewhere, right? Because we are so actively using digital technologies. So some data, sorry, somebody says something.
Nothing, sir. You can proceed.
Okay. So the question is like, what I would like to say is, let's not look at only today. We may have more options coming forward the coming days. But my objective of this session was to say that, okay, let's at least know what is available today and what is being done today, so that our students and even people amongst you who are interested in pursuing a particular career in this industry can take it forward when you come into the industry and adapt to whatever new things come in there. But the gap today is, we don't have many aspirants knowing details about this particular fundamentals itself. So let's try to help them. That was my objective.
Right, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I saw some questions on the chat.
Yes, sir. What is the difference between private and permission networks? It's one question by Ms. Purnima Girish Naik.
I think we addressed that, where we can use a public network and a private network. We spoke about the blockchain consortium. So if you remember the slides there, you have different consortium being put in place. And depending on the project, you can try to be involved with any of this consortium approach. And if you feel you want to have your own consortium, still you can go ahead and do that. You don't really have to follow anything which is already available there. But each one come with its own benefits and negatives. So that's where due diligence has to be done. That's very important.
The next question is from Puranik. What projects do you suggest on blockchain for undergraduates?
I give a simple example where I don't know. Okay, can I ask this question, because all of you are from academics? How much time does a student really get to complete academic project? In my days, we had 6 months. So is it more today or less today? I really don't know.
1 year, sir, now.
1 year? Okay, that's a really good time. And,
Depends on the university.
Yeah, depends on the university. From VTU, it is 1 year, sir.
Okay, if 1 year, then you can do a very decent project. I think because there are a lot of co-speakers later on in this particular program will be talking about different aspects of blockchain. You can pick up any project from that thing. So you can take it as a project from concept to completion. So when I say concept to completion, what I mentioned, what we primarily look from industry in a project, if those aspects are covered, and if the student is able to confidently answer, yes, he understands what was being done in the project initiation stage, and given the kind of infrastructure available to him or her, what kind of project they decided, and how did they go about it, and how they decided about the choice of technology, or what kind of quality metrics they are aware of. that's really a good, decent project. Now, this is where I suggested, if you can try to build a center of excellence and invite people from the industry who can kind of mentor the students and also share some industry experience with them, then that can help both the faculty and the students as well. I mean, just my suggestion, you can give it a thought.
Sir, myself, Beena, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, if you are coming to the research, we can integrate with the blockchain, IoT, and cloud, sir. Is it possible? Because I read some paper regarding BCOT, blockchain integrated with the cloud and IoT. Is it possible, sir? We can integrate with it, we can go through it.
There's a little bit of background noise. Could somebody explain the question, please?
Sir, in the blockchain, blockchain, we can integrate a blockchain with the cloud and IoT, sir.
You can do that. You can do that again.
Okay, sir. No problem. I mean, because while coming to the implementation, any issue will be arise or not? Because I read some paper, but that is not an implemented paper.
Okay. You can see there are two ways you can implement it. One is you can use a proof of concept approach, okay, and say that you have done it to this level, and you have the potential to scale it up to a customer level implementation. That's also good enough, okay.
Okay, sir.
You get a customer who can actually use it and give feedback to that. Nothing like that, okay. So you can use either of the things. But important is scalability, because you may say it worked as a proof of concept, but when you get into a thing, you might suddenly find things are slightly different and difficult.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
So there is one more question in the chat box by the Ishwar. May I know few project ideas in the cyber security domain that involves blockchain?
Cyber security domain involves blockchain. Okay, that will really take some time, but if you're really interested in that kind of projects, we can probably take it offline. But just to give you an overview, practically cyber forensics is one area where you can implement blockchain, because most of the times it all goes by the type of evidences we are collecting and the kind of investigation being done by different agencies. And this blockchain implementation will really help the law enforcement agencies to take it to the courts and help us all in getting this kind of criminals being punished and put into bars. Today, the document trail is very difficult, because different agencies work on the forensics at different point of time. And to get everything together and help the law enforcement agencies today is taking a lot of time. That's one way. And second way is even when a cyber incident happens, for the organization to know that this particular cyber incident happened itself is taking a lot of time. Most of the times it even goes up to 300 days. So what I would like to suggest is look at any niche areas where you find a gap and try to implement there. So even if it's a small project or even academic level project, that will immediately get the notice of the industry. That's very much possible. So as I said, you may want to go it with a full scale implementation, or you may want to stop it at a proof of concept, but demonstrate the proof of concept is working, meeting all the objectives. And you can add in the end that due to these reasons, I stop its proof of concept. But if there's a customer, if I get a chance to implement at a customer place, this is kind of scalability the particular project provides, and this can be done this way. So then the people are more appreciative of your effort and would also value the kind of work you've done, and you're trying to bring in the solution part.
So the next question is from Ms. Shubhangi Moon. May I know the PhD research topic in blockchain?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
May I know the PhD research topic in blockchain?
PhD research topic?
Yeah.
No, I haven't done my doctorate in blockchain. I've done doctorate in artificial intelligence. So you'll probably have to check with different universities on what type of topics are being suggested.
The next question is from Renzi Matthew. Can you suggest some platform that we can do blockchain implementation other than standard platforms like Ethereum?
You can actually build your own. Why do you want to? If you don't want to use a platform, you can build your own. Nothing stops you from building it. But again, you have to decide what the objectives are and what is that you're trying to achieve there. So most of the times we want to do some things, but we fail in initial levels of understanding the scope of work. And if you have 10 objectives which we planned at the beginning stage, we may not be able to even achieve 5 of it even midway of the project. And that's where all the time constraints and budget constraints start coming in. So building a platform is very much open today because I said we don't have a global standard still in place. So if you feel something can be helping a small and medium enterprise or even anybody today requires support, even a small business or hotel or anybody, then you can always kind of help them. You can work with them, and even agriculture, there's been a lot of potential there, and a lot of people are working on that. But still, there's potential for so many new things to be done there also. I'll give an example. Like we always keep hearing the onion prices keep going over the roof, and there's a lot of heartburn being created for that because as consumers we pay a premium, but the farmers doesn't get that benefit. Okay, so if you are able to build a food system which helps identify what really at what time the harvest of the onions happened and how much was lost in transit, how much was lost in storage, and just all that loss account to the increased price in the market. Even that can also happen at a granular level. So you can look at different ways, and you can look at helping promote artisans. You can look at helping promote a lot of self-entrepreneurs who have started small but have a really good product and service in mind. And today everybody says start a website and we can compete with Amazon or Geo or anybody. And not so simple there because the enthusiasm is there, but they wouldn't know the process or how to handle stuff. And other way you could probably look at an opportunity is even the milk packets. At least I am not sure the milk packet that I buy every day, the milk is fresh. So how do I know it's fresh? Or is it 1 day old or 2 day old? Or where it has been procured from? That's not the packet at all. So all I know it is come to the booth today, so it's kind of packaged yesterday. Is that real? We don't have a checking system for that, right? So anything like this, you can look at it, and this is where your innovation and your skills also come in there. So look at those kind of possibilities, and even if it's a small platforms you're building in this particular project, if you are planned it for a big way, then why not industry use it later? They would be more than happy to consider that.
So the next question is from Kareem. Could I do charity donation system with public blockchain?
Charity donation system. If you're looking at a crowdfunding kind of thing, or I didn't get what the objective is. Or you have any ideas which you want to take it offline? Probably you can share it, and we can discuss it further if it's really a concrete idea.
Ma'am, you can also unmute yourself and speak because sir is not sure about your question. Okay, sir, we'll go to the next question. Probably we can take it offline later. Next question is by Ari Vazagan. can you please mention any private or permission blockchain platform for MSMEs existing in the market?
As I said earlier, when I started the presentation, I won't like to speak about any vendors. But I think the government of India is doing something in this field. So you can check on a net for more details.
Next question is from XISS. I usually don't know the name. How to become a blockchain developer?
How to become a blockchain developer? Okay, that's a good question. But I think we discussed about it. What all is required other than technology? Technology is an individual choice. You can decide on which technology you want to actually build up in. But what I would like to suggest is, apart from technology, build up all the other things what we spoke today in capacity building. That's more important today, because technology alone won't help you get a job.
Sir, ma'am, can I just speak to sir?
Sure, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you, sir, for taking this question, because I just want to know that how to create interest among the students who will be having an inclination towards blockchain. So how to attract them, how to make them not only just putting into the curriculum, because that becomes a very compulsory thing for them. So how to attract them to go for projects and other things?
That's a very good question. I can share my experience how we're getting people involved. Okay. Now, one of the ways is trying to get them together and allow them to brainstorm and come up with an idea. Because the moment we put an idea and ask them to start getting involved in it, many reasons they don't open up, and it's like teacher telling us and we have to do that. That's kind of obedience that comes in more than an interest. So what we try to do is, explain to them what is blockchain and give them examples of students of their age across the world, what they're doing in blockchain as a project, even if it's a school or a college project, what they're doing, and get them interested there, and then allow them to brainstorm and come up with an idea. Now, this is very, this has to be handled very discreetly, because we cannot start judging their ideas, telling them improvise here, do that, because once we start getting involved, then they leave to us and they sit quiet. So we have to give them subtle hints that, okay, your idea can be improved, and why don't you present it, and trying to encourage them all the way. And even when the project or any particular work they feel they should be doing, let the flow come from them side. Let's not look at even a full-scale project also. Even encouraging them to write an essay about what they think they can do in blockchain, or even a debate about it. Let everything come from them, and the audience should be very clear that we're not going to shoot down something or run down any particular idea because we thought it's not doable or impractical or whatever it is. No judgments there, please. That's very important. And they will improve. They will improve, because I've done that with rural school students who had no background of this particular subject, and today they've been doing really good. So I suggest it that way. I mean, that worked for me. Probably you can fine tune it to your requirement and take it further.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, excuse. Sir, I'm Chetan Agarwal here. Can I?
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I have some ideas. I was also going through some articles and internet resources. Can I have an offline chat sessions with you to have some directions on my PhD topic as well as some other topics concerning the blockchain approach for their solutions? I have thought of something, but somewhere down the line, I am not able to go ahead. I'm getting blocked into my approach or somewhere like that. So if you could permit me, I can have a session with you sometime, and you could probably guide me as to where I'm making mistake or in my approach or in my understanding to take my project further.
So where are you from, Chetan Agarwal?
I am from Mumbai, Thadumasani Engineering College.
Okay. I can make it simple for you.
Yes.
if you approach the NASCOM there, they can advise a mentor for you there. And it's much easier for you to interact with them. And still, I'm not saying don't discuss with me at all, but having somebody who is approachable there and who comes from the industry will surely help you much more. Okay? You can
sure, sir.
Approach NASCOM, or you can also talk to somebody in IIT Mumbai.
IIT Mumbai. Okay.
They'll be more than happy to help you. Okay?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So the next question is from Ms. Palak R. Can you suggest some use case scenarios for self-sovereign identity with blockchain?
I'd like to pass that question because I think other co-speakers are going to talk, and also we are going to have hands-on sessions. So if that question is still not answered, I would like to take it offline and answer that. Then let's wait for this program to get complete.
Next question is by Mr. Ishwar. How would you suggest to begin the journey into blockchain?
How do you suggest to learn? Journey to blockchain is primarily starts with your interest in the particular topic. What's your interest in the topic? Now, if I'm just trying to do some study to understand what is all this blockchain all about, then you have a lot of research papers available, you have a lot of books available, you have a lot of programs being done regularly. You can attend any of this and understand what it's all about. But if you're looking at a career, I think today we discussed quite some time on what all is required if you want to get into a blockchain, apart from technical skills. Now, third, you want to start your own startup, then you can kind of work on the idea and take help of any startup consulting. I think most of the state governments are actively supporting startups in this core technology areas. So you can take their assistance and start a startup. So there are different ways on where you can start. But end of it, it comes to you and me, whether we like to do anything in this field or just for knowledge purpose.
Then I think we have one last question here. Will you, by Ms. Vidya Lakshmikant Badadare, will you please suggest some resources from where we can get updates regarding recent blockchain projects?
There's a blockchain council. I think this based out of UK. They do keep publishing a lot of information for professionals in blockchain. You can become a member for that. And even otherwise, you have a lot of research journals where people publish their papers from across the world. You can also look into that. And what I would also suggest, though it is not completely given to give a picture to you, because always there'll be a vendor flavor involved. You can look at white papers being published by different companies like IBM, Oracle, and others. And you may get some information. They're leaving out the vendor portion of it. You can still know what kind of work is being done as a project in different scenarios. And still you're not satisfied, then you have to talk to people from the industry, and they'll be more than happy to help.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please.
So my name is PG Naik. I'm very new to this blockchain technology, sir. One basic question I am having from the previous lecture, I could understand that the blockchain is perceived as a shared, replicated, permissioned ledger, and most of the objectives of a blockchain are already present in the database technology, such as the identity, authentication, authorization, then a log of transactions, replication in distributed this. So using some stored procedures and functions, whether I can implement blockchain at database level itself, or whether any knowledge of programming language is required.
No, you really don't require so much of programming knowledge, because depending on the technology, what you're going to use in blockchain, you'll have to have that particular technical skills. That's if you're going from a developer perspective. Okay. Now, second thing is, how do you implement blockchain? That's A very good question. Okay, people are already using a relation database, and some people also have data warehouse and all this application in place. Now, what do they still require is what fundamentally the difference between a regular database and a blockchain is. In a blockchain, you are creating a trail, an audit trail of a particular transaction or documents, which is not so easy in a particular database. Okay, that's one. And second thing is there are multiple stakeholders involved here. So we are going to kind of build a community there or a consortium and work together to reach a particular objective. And one of the stakeholders could be you as a database owner. You could also be contributing there. So it's not something going to leave you out and do something. No, they can't do that. Your skills will be required. Your experience would be surely being valued, and that will be done. Now, the problem with blockchain as of today, or I would rather not use the word problem, I'd try to use a challenge today is, it works with a presumption all the data in blockchain is correct. So if some reason some garbage gets in, it remains as garbage in the entire blockchain. That's a big challenge we have today. So what we always suggest from industry is even before you start working with a blockchain project, clean up the data and make sure everything is complete, current, and correct, and make sure all the data sources are of something which we can rely on, and then get into the blockchain. Otherwise, you start blockchain and then later down the line you realize that there's a data issue. It becomes a very difficult subject altogether. So you always have a role. It's not like they can do without somebody. No, everybody is involved and everybody's contribution is very much appreciated.
Yes, I thought of without resorting to the existing tools, whether to realize the power of blockchain, whether we can go from the first principles at the database level. That was my, because in the last session. Yeah.
No, I really don't know because I didn't attend the last session, so I can't comment on what was discussed there. But if you're looking at query searches and what you generally do as report generation and things like that, yes, that's good from application software perspective. But from blockchain, we require more than that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So we have one more question from V. Gautam. How is the growth of blockchain in India? In India, is blockchain allowed?
Okay, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, I don't think they have allowed it, but blockchain is allowed. In fact, a lot of state governments are implementing it in a big way. And I think given the kind of potential within India itself, there's a lot of work that can be done. Some work is being done in agriculture, some work is being done in industry, some work is being done in even education, and also some work is being done at government level. So different areas people are working, and we're also trying to help healthcare institutions with implementing blockchain specific to healthcare. And it's also being used for defense and research, particularly space research, weather forecasting, water management. So practically almost all the fields where it's being done in other countries, we're also having the potential to do it in India. And I don't think government is preventing that technology use in any of these particular areas. But yes, as far as I understand, what is being not allowed is the cryptocurrency being used.
So one more question by Ms. B. Banupriya. Where can we see about funded projects related to blockchain in India?
You can see it on the government website, the central government websites, one area. The Niti Aayog publishes a lot of progress and reports being made about blockchain implementation in India. And second is you can get it from industry bodies like NASSCOM. I think some of these reports are free and some of them are kind of paid reports. Depending on what you were looking for, you can go in for any of the options. And even in media, if you look at some of the companies which are implementing blockchain talking about the projects, or the end users talking about it. You may find related information in print and as well as visual media.
That was the last question, sir.
Okay.
I think, there are no more questions.
Thanks. I know it's always difficult to have a session before lunch, but thanks for all your patience and for cooperation, and thanks everybody for giving this opportunity. It's a very good program what has been planned, and I request all of you to attend all the sessions and make good use of it. And thank you all again. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, sir. I thank Dr. Udaya Shankar Puranik for sharing his insights on industry perspective of blockchain projects and applicability of technology in various sectors. I once again thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and sharing your valuable knowledge with the participants. Thank you.
Thank you.
I request all the participants to join the next session at 2:30 by Dr. Kannan Srinathan. So please use the same link that was shared in the morning to join the session. Thank you.
Ma'am, I have a question.
You have a question, ma'am?
Yes, to you only.
To me. Okay. Yeah.
Actually, I am using my institute's this Cisco WebEx meetings in which it is written XISS. That is my institute's name. So I have registered as Mohua Banerjee. So will it be creating any problem when I am going to get the things?
Yeah, the attendance we are going to extract will reflect this name. So I request all the participants to use your correct names for the attendance extraction. So in case you're not able to change that, ma'am, please message me. In this reference for your name, which is displayed as XISS, we'll use your actual name.
Yes,
please message me if you're not able to rename.
Yes, I'm not able to rename. If I can do it, fine.
Problem.
So I'm
No
sending a mail to you, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, you send me one mail and a personal message, so we'll take care of that.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am. Madam, what will be the nature of exam? I'm Lakshmi from Mumbai.
It will be an online quiz, actually, which will be there
so
for 40
MCQ.
minutes. Yeah, it is an MCQ. That is on Friday afternoon at 2:30. Yeah, we'll start off at 2:30. So it'll be for 40 minutes. It's a 30 questions quiz.
Excuse me, ma'am. Myself, Amrita. For attendance purpose, is there any form or you will automatically download the attendance form?
We'll automatically extract it from Cisco WebEx, and we'll be sharing the attendance at the end of the day, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Even the links, even the recordings, everything will be shared at the end of